Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the LVLUP Podcast. Today, I have a very special guest with me, Zaiena Haider, who is the first Pakistani to compete in an IFBB Pro leagues and MPC shows.
Yeah, in the world.
Correct? Awesome. That's great. So
as a national, and like born and bred in Pakistan with a passport from Pakistan. I have to reiterate this.
yes, that's something. That's actually something because it kind of interests me, the story and your background, because I'm coming from the Middle East as well, right? And there is a lot of how would I say? Challenges that you had to overcome, especially like you're a female, you're from Pakistan, you're competing at a sport that is dominated by men, and you are breaking the glass ceilings and breaking barriers. So can you tell me a bit more about like your start at the beginning, and then we take it step by step?
It's a blur right now.
Okay.
I'm just sort of going back and forth with this question in my head, because the past couple of weeks I've been doing podcasts and interviews. So it's like a repeat telecast, which is fun. But then I feel like the narrative constantly changes in some aspect or the other. For example, each time I have a conversation with someone, I feel so enlightened by their presence or by the structure of their questions that something that I hadn't mentioned comes up into my mind, if that makes sense. So bodybuilding, as you asked, right, is a sport for men, but it's a sport for men and women. We compete against women in our sport and men compete against men in their sport. It has diversified over, a passage of time, and it's not very common in Pakistan amongst women. So this stereotype and this cultivated idea about women staying slender, slim, and not looking remotely healthy, because healthy connotates to being overweight, is still very much present in this day and age. And not just in my country, in South Asia and other countries, close to the border. Women can embrace any form of sport that they acquire or they are passionate about. Now, it's my duty as an athlete, as a representation of women in my country as well as in South Asia. I have a lot of followers from India, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Indonesia, from the US, from Mexico, Portugal, across the border, across in Europe, in Africa, North Africa as well. And my purpose is not just to tell women that, hey, you know what, I'm a bodybuilder, so you should do what you want. Rather, I'm going to change that, and switch it up a bit and say, you know what, hey, you're a woman, you're capable, you're strong, you're powerful. You can embody anything through the strength in your mind, your body, and your soul that you believe that you can. So that should be your motto. What is it that you're escaping from, firstly? Secondly, what is it that you're so passionate about? Let's define those points first. After that, you're going to ask yourself, what is your purpose for following that pursuit and that goal? Then you can sort of define and sort of elaborate on those points and then work towards those goals. Does that make sense?
It does make a lot of sense, but I wanted to dive a bit deeper on that, especially that the narrative itself, like you were telling me. So you have a lot of following, you have a lot of people looking up to what you have been achieving and you are continuing to achieve,
right.
And you're opening thoughts and doors that, you know what, if I'm someone who wants to achieve something and I can see other great examples achieving it, why can't I, right? But was that narrative or that thought present when you started bodybuilding at the beginning?
Yeah. I mean, I was about to touch that subject as well. I was trying to escape from it. I'm not an escapist, mind you. The thing is that bodybuilding came about when I was when I was seeing someone. So we were friends, and then he introduced me to, different aspects of training, lat pull downs, close grip, and all that stuff, RDLs and stuff. And this was a good 15 odd years ago. Okay. I wasn't unfamiliar with the terrain, but I was not very familiar with the postures and the forms and the technicalities of the kinesiology and the biomechanics and all those informative things that we need to be knowledgeable about in the sport of bodybuilding while we dive into this particularly. Because without that knowledge and information, you can obviously get into bodybuilding with just information and hearsay and watching people and from experience, but it's a very deep and difficult and dark place to be.
Yeah.
So having those things in mind, I had absolutely zero awareness about all of that. So I just got into it because, my partner's doing it, so let me see, what it's like, and we'll take it from there. Now, I was going through a very a strange time in my life. It was somewhat a turmoil. I came out of a bad marriage, and I needed to find something to engage my physical as well as my mental aspect of life towards, And I think that that's one of the reasons why I got into it. Secondly, culturally, whatever is unacceptable should obviously be done with respect to what you can and what you can't do. But I think I kind of broke all the norms in general, and I'm that kind of person who's a little rebellious. Like when I put my mind on something, I just have to do it.
Nice.
Now I have to keep in mind that I have to, of course, respect the culture, norms around me, pertaining to the place that I live, but that was home for me. So, I'm going to do what I want, And I think that I owe that to my father because he's been the person who instilled this mindset of being outspoken, being determined and confident, and never letting anything come in the way of our goals. And then my mother, on the other hand, was the one who instilled that drive of courage and resilience. Get on that horse. I fell off a horse. She got me right back onto hers. She says, "There's no way I'm allowing you to escape from this situation. You get back on that horse and you ride, and you let that wind go through your hair, and you just go with the breeze, and you just enjoy it and embrace it, and just take that pain and swallow it, and don't wallow over it."
That's amazing. So let's say you started the journey. So you started learning more about bodybuilding. You started doing the exercises. You started to learn about the right forms. When or what point were you when you thought, you know what, I'm actually doing good at this, and I'm seeing the development in my body, in my mindset, in my head, and I want to compete, knowing that, again, you are the first who would compete at that level nationally. So
no, internationally, but as a national.
Internationally. Okay,
yeah.
So I just want to hold on that moment where you decided, you know what, I'm gonna pursue this.
Okay, that came much later. That came about at the beginning of 2019. I moved to Dubai in 2017. I lived here back in 2011 to 12. At the time I was married. So I'm reliving my life all over again.
Okay.
That was the idea. I mean, I've been coming here since I was a baby. My eldest brother used to work as a banker, and he used to play golf. He was meant to play a tournament with Tiger Woods. So sports is kind of instilled in our blood.
In the family.
The family. I mean, my brother and I, the one who's a couple of years older than me, he lives in Dubai as well. We were always sort of involved in some form of sport or the other. I participated in national swimming, and I got a few rewards for that.
Okay.
So, and then we loved horse riding. Well, I loved it more than him. I was obsessed with horses to the extent that my father got us a horse at our farmhouse back in Islamabad. And so swimming, horse riding, then we spent our summer vacations in Marbella. And we would go out in the yachts and we would do kneeboarding and water sports. And
So you've always kept the action going.
Exactly.
All
I was very lean. I had somewhat of a flat stomach at all times growing up until I hit my mid-teens. Then things got a little weird.
Yeah. Happens to everyone.
Yeah. And then when I moved to Dubai, I got into bodybuilding more extensively, worked out at one of the synonymous gyms in Dubai that everyone rants and raves about.
Yeah.
And I kind of met my like
coach?
no,
mentor,
not coach, but
okay.
well, I met several people that I thought would be the right coaches for me, but ultimately I decided that this is not the route for me. So there was a diversion in between. So I competed in Italy for the first time in 2019. My friend, who was a coach as well as a bodybuilding trainer at the gym I was at, encouraged me because she felt that I was slightly bullied by a few girls around me. Now, that was owing to the fact that I was very compassionate and overly enthusiastic as opposed to the other females, because this is a norm for them in their cultures, especially in East Europe and other countries. For me, this is like, oh my God, hallelujah. I'm in heaven right now, bodybuilding heaven. So where do I go from here, and how do I start? These girls were just bullies because they felt that they were the best in the sport itself.
Okay.
And they were Miss Know-It-All, and I had to change that. So she had the upper hand, and she said, let me take control of the situation and let me steer the boat. And so we prepped for my first show that was in San Marino Pro in Italy.
All right.
And it was an amateur show, of course. And, we took it from there. Then I spent a couple of years just sort of building on and, putting on more muscle mass and more tissue, more fibers and recruiting more fibers and things like that. Learning about the sport more extensively, taking different courses, doing a course with Ben Poleski and Milos and other professional athletes, did workouts with Big Ramy. I'm going to be training with Ulysses, in recent times, and then with my friend, what's his name? God, Ronnie Winkler. He's a dear friend. I love him. He's such a humble and grounded individual. Like, that guy is like a large teddy bear with lots of muscle tissue on him. And I learned that in the sport of bodybuilding, people are very arrogant and very sort of high-nosed and high-horsed. And I just was kind of trying to dwell in this lifestyle and in this mindset. Now, mind you, I'm coming from a background of fashion design technology. I studied in London. So my degree is in fashion technology. I was kind of working in the environment of Harper's Bazaar in Dubai, and with the editor of Japan, and when Huda Katan had her events. So I was affiliated with that kind of a system,
network and environment.
And so from that to switch to this, it's like two very coincidental fields that are sort of on. There's a complete paradox from one another. And to adjust to that was quite a dilemma for me. I had to kind of restructure my mindset and start to believe in different things. Try to be more passionate about things that I never thought I was good at. So how was I going to do that, and how was I going to come about it?
But I think you're actually doing quite great in it, because like you were mentioning earlier, you're even networking yourself, or like I remember I'm seeing also posts of you with CBUM. Like, he's today, I believe he's the men's physique legend. I
classic
don't like
physique.
A classic physique
Don't
legend.
ever say that in front of him.
Okay. So the thing is, like, it's so good that you delved into that world, yet you were able to meet and you were able to network and you were able to position yourself amongst the greatest.
The peers, the legends, absolutely. And you know what? I was so humbled when I met him. He's an extremely shy guy, like, he's got so much in him to offer. I mean, don't get me wrong, when it comes to him competing against his peers, it's a different situation, and against other athletes in his category, which one of my friends that I was very close to was a huge fan of his. So I'm sure he's extremely jealous that I met him when I was in the US. I actually waited a couple of hours. I was talking to his Sebum's partner, and she's like, "Hey, huh?" She was amazing. She was super encouraging. I showed her my medals. I was at the Revive gym in Miami, and you know, so I was engaging in conversation with her, and she gave me a lot of company. And then, you know, she said, "Wait on, he's gonna be here soon." He's gone to pick up what's his name, his coach. Hani Rambo.
Hani Rambo, yeah.
And I obviously have met him a few times. Hani is a really good guy. He's also very humble. He's got a good heart.
He's got an amazing record.
He's got an awesome record, and he's got a great team of
23
athletes.
Olympias now, or 24?
Something like that.
Yeah, something around those lines.
I've stopped keeping track with that guy. You know, he's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I'm very proud and honored to be amongst these legends and to learn so much from them, as opposed to the new age athletes that have come about nowadays. I'm sorry, but I can't rub shoulders with them. They just, we're all humans, and at the end of the day, we're all gonna go down to the same place together. So can we just be more humble and kind and more empathetic towards each other? And now I have obviously pulled myself out of the bodybuilding field a bit. You know, injuries, pains, and aches. I'm getting older, and started doing my postgraduate in psychology and neuroscience so that I can do something more humanitarian based, something for the people of our world, not just myself, and not just for the sake of making money, but just to give back. You know, we have so much that I think that it's important for us to share what we have.
That's super. And how do you see bodybuilding? Because I always like to talk about this. Is people sometimes portray bodybuilding as or like working out in the gym as a boring sport, right? Like some people, even friends of mine, right? When I tell them like I love going to the gym, and I'm like, no, we like more of the sports. We like to play more football. We like to interact. We like to do that. But bodybuilding, you're just, or like going to the gym, you're just you and the machine, and they're missing out on the education that you get from training in the gym. Not only the education about learning about your muscle, but it's more about learning about your limits and learning how to overcome your limits and learning how to challenge yourself, progress, grow. Where do you see, like now that you are delving more into psychology, you say?
Yeah.
And
postgraduate in psychology.
Postgraduate in psychology, and you're looking into delving into a different industry, but helping people out. How do you see working out in the gym contributed to this?
Well, I'd say that wanting to get into this career has led to the path of just being more aware as an individual, and all of that is owing to the sport of bodybuilding and just fitness in general. The fact that mental health is extremely crucial in this day and age, especially now that AI and other, infrastructures are going to be overcompensating for human work and job fields. People are going to need human contact more so than ever. People are going to need someone to connect with, to listen to, and not just talk to a computer and put in a request and get a response from a computed field, right? Or an automated response. We need to be heard. And this is in conclusion to many different dilemmas and many obstacles that I have surpassed in the past couple of years. And now that I almost am going to be touching my 40th year, which is like my prime time, this is the time I'm going to start actually living my life like to its maximum potential. So all the things that I have, encompassed in my life in the past are owing to the reason why I feel like mental health is the most crucial factor that contributes to our well-being overall. So when it concerns bodybuilding, most of the people in the sport of bodybuilding suffer from mental health issues. And I saw that firsthand. And I said I didn't want to be one of those people who will suffer and people will question me for my decisions. But there's something that I need to do to help the people around me, because all of them are suffering. It's such a dark place. You isolate yourself from the rest of the world. You are so constricted. You're so confined to a regimental routine. Everything is so detrimental to your mental health at the end of the day, but no one realizes that these are the repercussions, you know? These are the things that are going to really affect you when you have a family, when you have kids. You know, you have to reflect those emotions and feelings onto them. And they need to grow up to see that, you know, we are growing up with parents that believe that we can do whatever we desire, and what our passion is doesn't have to be coincidental with what our parents are passionate about, right? And in regards to bodybuilding being a routine, it's essential for every human being, because without let's say a regimental routine that concerns your health, it doesn't have to be pertaining to bodybuilding itself. It just means that you need to have something that gives you structure and movement and mobility and resistance. So resistance training is extremely important, especially for people who are agile, who have very a lot of decomposition. Their bones are fragmented or fragile, and then they start collecting all kinds of crystallization in their bone. It's because they don't have enough resistance in their life. They're not training enough. They're not moving the fibers, the tendons, the muscles. And then eventually, as they get older, they start to feel all these aches and pains and nooks and crannies. All of these things start to surface. So the repetition has a long-term effect, but it really depends on how you sort of add those things, those routines in your life. You know, are you doing it for athletic purposes, for competitive purposes? Then yes, repetition is part of the deal. You have to dwell into it and dive into it, knowing that it's going to be boring. It's going to be mundane. We're going to have rice, chicken, broccoli, and cauliflower in order to get the results we want. But once you learn what the potential is, what your true potential as a human being is, and what your body is capable of doing, it's miraculous. Like, oh my God. You know, I work with George Farah. He's one of the utmost prime individuals I have ever come across in my life. You know, he's like a jack of all trades. That guy is I don't know, man. He is like something else. He is my mentor, my coach, my friend. You know, he's second to me after my father. I look up to him with so much respect. Like I would do anything in regards to taking his opinion and putting it to the highest point.
Point of highest regard.
You know, highest regards. Because he has helped me believe that anything I put my mind to or set my mind to is possible. And every time I felt like I was scared, afraid, hurting, in pain, in sorrow, he reminded me of why I started. You know, that repetition, that diet, as it gets very crucial and like it gets harder.
Cutting out the carbs for
you're reducing
days,
the carbohydrates. And it takes you to dark places in your mind. How are you supposed to cater to those thoughts? Your thoughts are anchoring your emotions and everything that you're doing, all the setbacks around you.
But how do you push through this? I think this is the main challenge, because if your head is in the game, that's good. But again, maybe some people who are not competitive bodybuilders wouldn't know the amount of mental pain that you are in when it's like the last 3 weeks or 4 weeks to the competition, and then stressing yourself out and having to do the cardio, having to do the hours, having to stop eating or just have your protein and fats and cutting the carbs and doing your cardio, doing your workout and pushing hard. It might sound on words simple, but mentally it's not. It's not at all. that's the dark place. So how do you push through this?
You've signed up. You're stuck now. You have nowhere to go. It's like you've paid for you've paid to jump off a plane. You enjoy the thrill, and now that you're about to embark on the flight, and you're like, you know what, I can't do this. But you've already got a parachute locked and loaded, and you're about to take that plunge. What do? You're at that position in your mind, in your body.
Yeah.
And you know, that's the best description I can give you. And it just came to me so organically because I've been through this so many times now that it's like, oh, whatever. It's not a big deal. You know, I've gotten so accustomed to that dark place, you know. But it also depends on how resilient you are and how tough you've become over a passage of time. You know, it also is your environment is extremely important as well. The kind of people you associate yourself with, the kind of books you read, and how preoccupied you can keep yourself during the time that you're in the crucial moments and weeks of your prep. So my advice to anyone getting into it is that, are you sure you really want to do this? And don't do it just because you see everyone else doing it. I used to think that, oh my God, he's doing it, she's doing it, I'm going to do it. This is not like a game of badminton, you know, and we'll see who scores in the end, and then you reap what you sow. You got to put in endless hours and work and sweat and blood and tears. It's not like a couple of shots here and there and a couple of pills you pop, and then you're like, hey, you know what? This is the outcome. No, it's not like that.
If it was, everyone would have been Big Ramy now. So
exactly, we're all individualized as human beings, as people. And no one plan fits all. No one plan in any regards of life fits you. We all should, sort of respect the entity that we're living in. We embody this body that we've been gifted by God. Allah has given us this beautiful space, this temple. And we tend to disregard it so much. We tend to disrespect the fact that we have so much that we can do, so much potential. And if you look around you see people who have gone through, they've lost their limbs, they've gone through war, or they've been through battle, or they've been through accidents and so on and so forth, but they're still moving on with their life with so much more confidence than you'd ever imagine. I have friends that, like my friend Bionic Body, Edward, he's
lost both his legs, but he's a fighter, and that guy is so resilient. Every time I'm like, you know what, I can't be bothered. But that thought has only started to prevail now. It started to linger around my mind as of recent times. It's probably because I've just exhausted my fuel tank, and I just don't have anything left in reserve. I just feel like I need to back off a bit and give myself a little time off. But now I've started to reintroduce the movements, the training and everything back into my regime and my lifestyle, because I know that it's on the forefront of my survival. That's, as far as I can say, that's the easiest way to put it. So, without training, I'm nothing. So you're training now, but are you considering maybe one last shot at...
I retired after my last show in the US. You never know, though.
You never know. Never
With bodybuilders... Once a bodybuilder, always a body. Once a competitor, always a competitor.
Nice.
But I've got bigger and much better plans goals. And plans. And then that means educating kids and poor children from different parts of the world. So that's going to be my main focus as of now.
That's amazing. And speaking of educating children, and Johnny, because we touched on it at the beginning of the discussion, empowerment and advocacy, right? Which I believe through your journey and through your following, you had kind of were able to create the persona that people would want to listen to you to get better or feel that they can do something. What is your goal with the children? Before we talk about the women, because I had it prepped for women.
Well, the thing is that first and foremost, you have to have leadership skills, okay? Yeah. Then you have to have a lot of empathy. You have to have a lot of sacrifice sort of built in inside you.
Yeah.
you have to be willing to just put aside everything you're so like passionate about, whether it's aesthetics or traveling, or it's splurging on expensive attire for the next coming events. You really have to just put everything aside and just say that, you know what, I want to choose simplicity. And I want to spend my energy and my time, my focus and my savings or whatever I'm earning for into the future of this world. There's no better way to put it, because this planet is weeping. It's hurting. It's in pain. And it's up to us and our millennials and the Gen Zs to save this planet. So it's up to us to educate them, to be kind with them, and to explain to them that, we need you to keep this planet safe. So education is extremely important. And with that comes kindness. And without kindness, you cannot get anywhere in this world. I never used to be the person that would forego a luxurious handbag or an outfit over and above, a conversation with someone that I can communicate with and enjoy the conversation with, or just sit and read a good book and call it a day. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy now.
But don't you see the other stuff is actually kind of growing more and more into our lives in a way that it's sickening?
What is that?
Like the let's talk luxury lifestyle, for example.
Yeah, exactly. That's why
like it's becoming too much now, right?
Yeah,
like
it's extremely revolting, and that's the reason why I have sort of taken a switch from fashion and fitness and moved towards something that is going to be in the forefront of the future. And I just cannot fathom to be amongst people who are so self-centered and so arrogant and so concerned about their outlook on social platforms as opposed to how they can contribute to humanity. That's really what it is. And that's why I have lost a lot of friends, because I realized that they were never really my friends. They never really believed in that passion, that love, and that care, and the tenderness that I did. No matter how strong-minded I am, and I may have a way of kind of being, it may come across as rude in some regards or the other. It's not that I'm being rude. It's just that I'm very sure about how I feel and think. I'm not on edge with my thoughts and emotions. I know very well that if something is affecting my mental health or something is bothering me around me, then I'm going to give it my all to make sure that I can put in the efforts to help and contribute to humanity. And if I feel that others aren't doing it, then I don't really belong there. So you have to kind of pull yourself away from that environment. You choose who you are and you choose who you're around. And this isn't an excusable thing. It's non-negotiable. You have to come to terms with non-negotiable things and factors in your life. Is this the path I want to go towards? Are these the people I want to associate myself with? What am I getting out of it? Superficial conversations, things that don't really have any weight to them, and things that just don't make you feel good inside. You're answerable to God at the end of the day, so it really doesn't matter. What people are doing around you, that's not our place to judge. And that's the problem nowadays. People are very judgmental.
Yeah.
And we need to change that. We need to change that. We need to move away from that spectrum. We need to be more confident within ourselves, not dwell in the past or in other people's lives and superficial thoughts. We need to allow ourselves to believe that anything we put our minds to is possible. And if we pray for it, manifest it, the energy, the universe will gravitate towards you.
Yeah. And back to the industry of bodybuilding, like I know we're moving left and right here, but what's your thoughts about the future of the industry for, like, what would be your message for up and coming athletes who are delving into the bodybuilding world today and they're starting in it? Is it a good place to be? Are they going to make money? Are they going to make a living? Can they grow their brand, themselves, among themselves? What's your thought of the industry and where do you see it going?
Well, let's let's go into this categorically. Why do you want to do it, firstly? Secondly, if you're planning to do it, are you doing it for yourself or are you doing it because you want to help others? Number 3, are you willing to overcompensate your health for the purpose of looking that competitive on stage? Because nowadays, until and unless you don't take a lot of things, you are not going to play the part.
You're not going to be able to compete, yeah.
So you need to answer yourself. And a lot of people are so enthusiastic and passionate, say, I'm going to do it, inshallah I will be there. That's great. I feel for you, brother. Because it's not happening. It's not the same as they used to be. Bodybuilding was so lucrative and people were very passionate and caring about one another. They supported each other as a family. It's not family-oriented sport anymore. People are pulling each other down. It's like a game of tug of war.
Tug of war, yeah.
People are pulling at each other, tugging each other. Who looks better than who? Who's got bigger glutes than who? A lot of women are getting silicone. That's their own personal choice. I am no one to judge them. But they're moving away from what they're capable of doing, their full potential. So if you're doing it because you want to make money, don't do it. That's not happening, because bodybuilding is not going to be your source of income. I assure you that. You need to find something more profound, more solid, and structured. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. And
sorry, my eyes started to water because I got so engrossed in this topic that it actually made me really emotional, because I really just, I feel for the youth, and I feel like they're looking through the glass, and we're watching them from the other side.
Yeah.
They're looking through the peephole and we're being watched by them. You need to look up to your peers, your leaders, but I assure you that those people don't exist anymore. They're still there, but people like them are not emerging nowadays. You're going to see a lot of scrutinizing opinions and a lot of competitiveness that is not going to serve you in any way or for humanity purposes. So look at it as on the broader on a broader surface. What is it that you want to do and why do you want to do it, and how are you going to do it, and how are you going to help other people? You want to help other people be successful, healthy, or are you going to do it because you're cunning and you're smart and you just want to materialize out of it? You want to cultivate a system that is just going to serve you personally. So there's many different aspects you can look at it.
That's a nice thought process about it as well.
Yeah. So just all I'm going to say is that please just be kind. There's a lot of people who are new to this and they don't understand it. So try to explain it to them with humility and just put your hand on their shoulder and say, you know what, you got this, and I'm gonna be there to watch you when you fall, rather than pulling them back when they're about to fall. So that's a lot of things that can change.
Yeah. When we talk about aspects of life, so you have your, like you were mentioning earlier, you have your parents, your brother, he's living here, and sorry. You made friends, you're doing your work, etc. How do you get to balance all of this? Making sure that you delve into your professional career, you focus on your work, you try to achieve something that has never been done before, you're pursuing your goals, but keeping the balance and keeping yourself sane. How do you go about it?
By taking time out for myself and waking up in the morning and thanking God for what I have. Just gratitude, first and foremost. Everything else follows after that. Being grateful for my parents. The fact that they're still alive and they still support me. Balance is key in life, and in the sport of bodybuilding, there's no such thing as balance. I'm sorry. It's one extreme or another. But in the sport in general, when it comes to doing other activities, outdoor activities, things like that, then it's great because it's more family oriented. So then balance is not even questionable. Then you can do that in inclusion with your family members, your cousins, your nephews, and so on and so forth.
Awesome.
Bodybuilding does not entail any form of size or shape of in regards to balance. That's the reality of it. It's a beautiful sport. It has, like a lot of insanely hardworking athletes have emerged from the sport itself. But I feel like they have also kind of changed their direction in life now. You know, they're coaching, they're very informative, they're very knowledgeable. And that's a one-off situation. But for balance, you need to be in tune with your body, your mind. You know, you need to give yourself time. You need to have a very different spectrum in regards to that. You need to make sure that your food and your nutrition is the key aspect of bodybuilding and fitness. If you want to stay fit and healthy, then you have to avoid all the things.
Healthy.
You have to eat healthy.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah, and healthy can also mean that you can overindulge and overeat healthy food and also put on weight unnecessarily.
Yeah, I've been doing that for the past 2 years. So yeah. No, the thing is, I remember stuff. I told this story before in one of my podcasts, but there was a time post-COVID, right, when I was actually, prior to COVID, I was doing really good when it comes to the health and nutrition and working out and everything.
Yeah.
And then COVID came, kept on trying to work out at home. It didn't work, gained some weight. And then the gyms reopened. And this is where my mindset and my head were towards, you know what? Chicken, rice, and broccoli every day, 6 days a week or 6 times a day and stuff like that. So I remember like going to the office. I have my first meal. I wake up early. I wake up at 5 a.m. 6 in the morning, I'm having my first meal, which was usually oats and eggs. 9 in the morning, I'm in the office and I'm having rice, broccoli, and chicken. And people are actually coming to the office still. They're still waking up. They're still like trying to get into the groove of work. And they find me sitting there and eating chicken, rice, and broccoli. So been there, did an amazing job. Now, the past 2 years, just enjoying it. I'm trying to keep it healthy, right? But I'm indulging into a lot of, and I think this is how people should go about their lives. Like try not to go junk every day. Try not to go unhealthy habits in your life, whether it's eating or like, but at the same time, enjoy it.
Yeah.
Cool. So because we have couple more minutes, I wanted to ask you about what, like at the end of the day, we're living life on Earth temporarily, right?
Yeah, we've rented a spot here.
Exactly, and some are able to leave a legacy.
Right.
Some don't, but if you were to leave a legacy, what would it be?
You know what? That's so amazing. This is such a great question. I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Because this is in the forefront of everyone's career. What is it that I'm going to do in the next 5 years? And then you go on to the next 10 years and so on and so forth.
I hate this question.
Yeah. But the most important question is, what are you going to leave behind? That's what I keep asking myself. I want to be recognized and remembered for not being this bubbly, hyperactive character that was in the gym and frolicking around and picking up weights and throwing weights around. But rather that person that was able to help people behind closed doors pick up where other people had thrown the pieces. I want to be remembered and recognized for things like my parents are doing. You know, they are legends, and my father is a legend. He's a national hero. You know, people have written books about him internationally. He's still writing at the age of 91. So, mashallah, I look up to him and my mother. Both of them are still educationists. They still read. They're still active. They're very, their memories are sharp, and God has gifted me with that. So, I want to be recognized and remembered for good deeds as well, not for, she's so and so's daughter. Oh yes, she was so and so's daughter, but she also did this while she was alive. She was able to just turn the tables around and make people realize that it's so important to look after others' needs before yours. And I never really thought about that. My father always said, be selfless, care for others first, you know, put other people's needs first, never borrow anything, not even a single penny, never hurt anyone, especially people who work for you, work under you or above you. We're all the same because we're all made from the same dust, and we're all going to go down as dust as well. So let's leave a mark on this planet where people can constantly come and pray at our graves and say, you know what, this was a person that we really looked up to, and I wish that there were more people like her. That's what we need to do. If you enjoy culinary life, then get into that. Cook food and make people happy. If you're good at singing, or you like to play an instrument, then play music and make people happy. And if you are good at a sport, then play that sport and make people happy. Because at the end of the day, no matter how poor or rich you are, it's music, sport, and food that brings the world together.
Yeah.
Nothing else.
Yeah, true.
No specific category in the sport of bodybuilding, not tennis or basketball or baseball, but just sport in general. No one particular musical instrument, but just music is what connects people. Even if you have barriers, or you have language barriers, or you're not bilingual, you don't understand or comprehend to one another, or you're deaf and you cannot hear, or you cannot communicate and you can't speak, music is going to bring you together. Food brings families together. Every season, every holiday includes food.
Yeah.
But we have to have more gratitude, because a lot of people don't even have a piece of bread on their table right now. So let's fortify these opportunities and be grateful, and wake up in the morning and say, thank you so much for this roof on my head, for the light in the sky, for the clarity in my mind, for the fingers that I can use, for the feet that move me from one place to another. These little tiny things, the little cells in our body, are what encompass us into a being. So we need to keep these things in mind. And in regards to our previous topic, when it comes to nutrition and food, balance is key. So the problem is that people go from one extreme to another: broccoli, chicken, and rice. You could add some green beans and asparagus and cauliflower and some beetroot. You just need to add all the colors of the whole earth into your plate, and that's going to be a perfect diet. Lots of colors, lots of nature, lots of whole foods. And every now and then you want to indulge in nonsense, go ahead, by all means, but don't overdo it. If you want to stay healthy and lean for the longevity purposes, then focus on all the colors. And make sure that,
and keep it simple.
Whole food, simple. Yeah, it's very simple.
Very simple. It's not
100%.
that complicated. It's not like, just keep it simple, keep it fresh, keep it like real food.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's gonna make, that's people like to go out and dine out and so on and so forth. That's fine. But it should be on a special occasion, not just because you're sitting with some friends and they're so they're so annoyed with you because you're so determined that you have to stick to your diet. Then they have to either respect the decisions you've made in your life and choices, or you just have a glass of water and tell them that you have a bad stomach.
Nice, smart. Awesome. Well, Zaiena, thank you so much for making it. I know, we had a conversation yesterday that there was a possibility we might have postponed it, but you pushed through it. So I believe that's your mantra: always push through the hardships and hard
absolutely.
times.
I gotta manifest all the good things that are coming my way. So I'm not gonna say I'm gonna have to put that on the side.
You did make it happen. So thank you so much for your time, for all the discussion.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time. And I had a wonderful conversation and dialogue with you. So yeah, I wish you all the luck for future endeavors with other people.
Same for you. Awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.